The stock market has been up and down recently, which has some people saying, hey, you should buy the dip. But here's the thing. Last time I checked, losing money is not fun. So, what are the stocks that we should be buying the dip on, and why is that the case? I am here to make that quite simple for you and give you my best stocks that I think we should be looking at to buy the dip. Let's go ahead and break it down. As always, when we come to these lists, I want to give you a very brief explanation as to how and why I came to this conclusion. So the first thing is I am approaching these companies as an all-weather portfolio, if you will, in this era with on-again, off-again tariffs. By the time you are watching this video, who knows as to what is going to happen with this season of tariffs. The last I checked, I was going to say February, but April 2nd, there's going to be a tariff bomb, a tariff balloon, where our tariffs were going to hit and the retaliatory tariffs were going to hit. And it was going to be all bad, but then we're going to label it Liberation Day. That don't sound no types of good to me. But then on Monday, we were walking back some tariffs and then the stock market was up. So who knows, again, by the time you're watching this video. I don't know, but here's how I am navigating that. Why don't I just adjust my portfolio to get as many stocks and as many index funds, which is only a handful of them, right? But let me just adjust my portfolio to buy things and hold things that have as little to do with those things as possible. That is how I'm approaching it. And what I'm trying to do is get good quality stocks. Okay, but get good stocks that are performing well and have a decent performing history. And if this situation goes well for the rest of the year, then we'll do even better. And if it doesn't, then we should do quite solid. That is the lens I am looking for. Now, with all that context out the way, let's jump straight into the list. The first one is Axon. The Axon Enterprise is the name of the entire company. AXON is the ticker symbol. The stock is up 45% in the last 6 months at the time we're doing this recording, 88% over the last year. It is primarily known for its tasers. I have been talking about, if you want to call this aerospace, but primarily defense, meaning, weapons, aerospace defense, kind of where it falls into. I've mentioned this multiple times before. I am a reluctant proponent of that industry because I see that as the government gonna spend money on that, and that is one of the few places that we know is going to continue to get government funding in an era where they are cutting stuff left and right. Of all the places that we know Doge has cut contracts, that ain't one of them, at least today, even though the Department of Defense has failed the last 7 audits. I don't like that fact, but I know that fact and I see that fact. So for the time being, I should likely take advantage of that fact. So that's not the only defense company. I have mentioned Homwell in the past is the company I currently own. I don't own Exxon as of today, but that is one that is doing quite well. That does have a bit of volatility, especially in the last month or so. So that is one you want to dig more into. But again, 88% of last year, that's not bad. And then if you want a more truncated, view, again, it's up about 45% over the last 6 months, which is doing quite a bit better than the overall stock market during that time. Quick time out. I know we've been talking a lot about investing today. However, if you don't know where to start or you haven't started yet, I have a free guide on how you can buy your first stock in just 20 minutes. To get that free guide, check out the link right here. All right, back to the video. Then we're going back to TLP, that is Texas Pacific Land Trust. Now that's the stock I brought up with the stock splits yesterday. TPL is the ticker symbol there. Up 41% in the last 6 months, up 142% over last year. It's wild. It's also in the energy space. I brought this up multiple times. If you want to check out why I think energy has been doing so well, that's not a guess anymore. We know this for a fact. Y'all have seen how much I made on energy and all that kind of stuff. We've seen it. Okay, it's not a guess, it's not theory. We've got months of proof. You can check out that video right here. But that is one that clearly up 142%. It has done quite well, and I think that is one that I think, government wise, I think regulation wise, policy wise, however you want to say that, it does have a pathway, and then obviously has some evidence and some backing behind it as well. So that one I think makes a lot of sense. And as it has dipped just a bit, not a ton, obviously, not a ton. If you start to see this one, tick down just a bit, this is one that makes sense to buy, right? Perhaps even more than some of these others. You can add NRG there if you choose, but we've beaten the bush on that one for quite a bit. Next one here, I'm starting to see people talk about a lot more, and I brought this up maybe once or twice, but perhaps I haven't yelled it loud enough. T-Mobile, TMUS. We talked about this one 5 years ago, and then we kind of left it alone. I think the last time we talked about it was probably 2021. But T-Mobile has been creeping up and is doing quite well. I wish that I had picked this up back in December. It is up 27% in the last 6 months, up about 61% over last year at the time I'm doing this recording. Obviously, these numbers can change, but it is looking quite good for your boy T-Mobile. Not for me, but for your boy T-Mobile. So do a bit more research, see if it fits in your portfolio. The fact that it only has AT&T and Verizon as a competitor for the most part, it can't be that hard, apparently. Some are saying, if you just were to look at a chart and nothing else, you could also argue that the AT&T is also doing quite well. Some people are saying that the debt behind AT&T doesn't make things that much better. You could also argue that interest rates may fall and those will come down. That could help AT&T. Totally up to you. I've never been the biggest fan of AT&T, but maybe you are. But if I had to choose between two, I'm obviously going with T-Mobile. Next on the list, McKesson, MCK. I used to be a big fan of McKesson. Maybe I'm moving slowly back into that camp. McKesson is up 41% in the last 6 months and up 142% over the last year. I'm looking back like, is that right? No, it is not right. I'm like, wait, what? So McKesson, MCK is the right ticker symbol, is up 30% in the last 6 months and up 24% over last year. I was like, wait a minute, I know, McKesson ain't up that big. That's why you gotta look. But McKesson is in the healthcare space. They do medical devices, they do pharmaceuticals, they do a lot of different things. And I've mentioned several times about how I feel about the pharmaceutical space, given what we are seeing in healthcare, health and human services, and all that kind of stuff. Right, I think obviously they don't just do medication, right? They do a bunch of different things. So do your due diligence, aka do your research there and see how you feel about it. It is solid. 30% is good. We still do need healthcare and health devices. They also do a bit of healthcare tech and research too. So they do a ton of different things, and the performance is there. And that's not something you can say for a bunch of other healthcare stocks, Moderna being one of them. So see how you feel about it. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Maybe I'm scared. Maybe that's just me, right? So we'd love to hear those thoughts in the comments. Next, we have Palantir. Now, maybe it's just my timeline and what I'm reading and hearing, maybe we're just overly concerned about interest rates and tariffs and everything else. Palantir is still good. And since we're talking about buying the dip, if you weren't getting Palantir 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago when it was in the headlines for going ham for its type of performance, it is up about 154% in the last 6 months and up 300% over last year. If you are seeing a dip in Palantir, this would be the time to start scooping it up. I can't sit here and tell you that this is my Nvidia 2022 when I was scooping up Nvidia, and then 2 years later I was up 400%. I can't tell you that. I can't predict the future. Past results don't predict the future. I can't tell you all that. What I can say is it was doing quite well before, and based on my research and how I view it, I still think it is a good company. If it dips, if you do your research and it becomes a bit cheaper, that logic may still hold. keyword is may. Okay, so take a look at it. If you thought Nvidia, there we go again. But if you thought Palantir, and I think I do own shares of Palantir on M1. But if you think that Palantir was a good, solid stock before, but it was too expensive and you thought it had too much of a run up, you might want to circle the block on this one, because it was before. I thought it was before. And this could be your time to dollar cost average, to, you know, take that bag of money that you had on the side and go on and buy you some dip on this particular chip for this one, as well as some of the others, especially with Texas Pacific and others. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but you guys get the point here. If you want to learn more about other stocks and other apps that you might want to invest with, check out this video right here.